Welcome, race fans, back to Black Flag Racing. My name is Webbo, here to join you. And if it feels like it's been a dreadfully long time, that's because it has been a dreadfully long time since we were recently here for the Premier Series. And my thanks, of course, to Mugen, who stood in for me and in Snetterton. This is how things look in the standings so far. DJ Jacques leads in the GT3 group ahead of Awesome Gumball, the Plums, Bubbling Panda and Mojo. In the GT4s we have Jondala, Mountain Ranger, Siam and Hellcat in the top 4, and in the team standings running on empty lead at the moment ahead of Malakas and Shockers, who are level in second place, with Siam Speed in 27 points in that fourth place overall. Well, we are in qualifying. We have got just a few minutes left to go. Let's get you trackside, shall we, for the race. And a big hello and welcome, thank you to everybody who's joined us so far. Here we are on track. We're in Imola. Not Kyalami just yet. We're getting there, but not quite yet in Kyalami. Hi to Arik, to Big Runks, Hunter, Going Grays and Brandon as well. Everybody excited for the race today. I'm riding on board currently with Chuggalug, who has the fastest time so far, a 1:41.690, and we're just going to see him and how his lap is going at the moment. We've got high gear hustlers being cheered on. Brandon, give me a bit of help there with the high gear. Those are the McLarens, am I right? So I'm just getting used to all the team names and the colour schemes as well. So making sure that I get everybody mentioned as much as possible. We've got Chuggalug then racing at the moment, and he's currently pushing hard on a hot lap as he heads in towards where are we right now? Traguardo, Tamburello corner. Absolutely historic, famous corner, Tamburello, before we head in towards the Villeneuve chicane. Left and then right, dropping all the way down to second gear for that one, and heading then up the hill to Tosa. Long left-hand hairpin corner, but approached at a fairly slow speed because you've just been through Villeneuve. Now we climb to a high point on the circuit, not the highest, but a high point, which is for Piratella, turn 8. Waiting patiently to get back on that throttle. Plenty of tarmac overrun before diving downhill for the dreaded Acqua Minerale, scene of lots of nightmares and indeed floods at the bottom of the circuit. Now we climb back up again for a tremendously difficult Variante Alta Piff Paff chicane over the bumps on the high up curbings, before then trying to get the car settled back down again. We head back downhill again to some of the best motorsport real estate you can possibly hope to buy as we head down into the double left of Rivazza corner, turn 14 and 15 officially powering out. We're going to skip out the Variante Balsa, and there's a pit lane entry on the right, and we head across the line. Chuggalug then a 1:41.6, his fastest. He's up at the moment on his absolute best as we go trackside to see who can take on Chuggalug. Let's have a tour through the cars at the moment. Chuggalug though holding on to the fastest time at right now. Just want to make sure I can try and get the the standings up when we need them. It's quite difficult, but we're going to try our best here to give you the overall standing. So Chuggalug leading by just 77 thousandths of a second. Bear with me. 1, 2, 3. Just testing everything's coming through because I've got an incoming voice call from Larry. Just a moment for me. Hello, hello. I'm all right. I'm live on air. Okay, folks. Well, my apologies, but it looks like I'm hogging a space for our very full lobby. So I'm going to have to quit out. I'm going to have to quit the entire game, and restart again using a controller. We're not going to have quite the ideal view of everything, but bear with me. I will try and get us on as quickly as possible. My apologies. We just want to make sure that we get a full accounting of drivers today, as I'm sure you can. As I'm sure you can appreciate. I will leave you back on the starting screen, and I'll be back as quickly as I possibly can. Hey everybody, thank you so much for your patience. It looks like we're going to be okay right at the end of qualifying here for this setup, and a massive thank you to Larry, who has given up his seat for Malacca's Motorsport here in order that that more people can take part today. We managed to absolutely max out our server. We're back. Hopefully, we are going to be able to give you a decent broadcast. After all, I've been able to go in and out of the session. I'm going to just make sure we can see what we want to see, and let's have a look for the standings at the moment. Then I'm going to try and find you P1 in the order. It is Dog Eater who took the pole position in the dying seconds here from Chugalug in P2. From Plums, who scored a P3. With Mojo just half a second back in P4 from that pole position. Bubbling Panda in 5th with Awesome Gumball in 6th place. Rubinho Rico is in 7th, and Harry Effect, or Harry, is in P8. Larry is the GOAT. Larry has been incredibly brave, and has managed to exit the pits just for us here. And you can see in the GT4s, Jondala is the fastest GT4 on the grid, ahead of Stubbly Squid and Y-Weight, who is going to try out the Chevy GT4 today for Team Malaccas. Preston in that 4th place, and Howcat in 5th in the GT4s. Fantastic to have everybody here. My apologies that I'm stealing a spot from Malaccas and from Larry in order to do this for everybody. Looks like Gotkin will start at the very back of the grid here, and we shall wait for the session to begin for the race. So we're going to see. Let me have your predictions live in the chat today. Make sure you take part in the chat. It makes the live stream so much more enjoyable for everybody to be part of. Keep it positive. Keep it kind. And make sure that we have ourselves a really good time today. It's Imola. It's the second round of the championship. I gave you the standings earlier on for the time, so hopefully we can. It's switched to qualifying, which is a little bit odd. So hopefully we're going to get ourselves into the race momentarily. It shouldn't have gone to qualifying, as far as I'm aware. Hopefully I'm not in the wrong chat here. Hopefully I'm not in the wrong server. But if I am in the wrong, then there are 29 other people here. Plums for the win. Plums for the win, says Arik, and a big thank you to Arik, who has signed up to be one of the members of my channel. That's very, very kind of you, and there are some membership options available, as well as a tips and a thanks button there. You can see below the video today. So, session starting any moment. I will make sure that I am in the pit lane. I'm still learning the keyboard shortcuts for ACC, which make life easier than using a controller and slightly more predictable, but at the same time slightly awkward for someone to broadcast today. This is Black Flag Sim Racing League, as you can see on screen, which is brought to you by Premier Off-Road as well. And if you do want to sponsor streams, sponsor the channel, then do get in touch, because we'll make sure we get your company logo on the screen as well. Dog Eater, Chugalog, Plums, Mojo, Bubbling Panda, the top 5. 30 seconds to go, and it is then going to be Awesome Gumball, Rubinho, Rico, Harry, DJ Jacques, after getting the most points at the start of the race, at the start of the championship, finds himself starting in the Mustang down in 9th position. This track may not suit everybody. Thank you, Roy. Really appreciate that as well. Very, very kind. As we about to get underway then, and I will get reset myself to the pit lane, and we can get ourselves viewing the drivers. Let's make sure we get a good view of everybody as we get underway. Controls locked until green flag, says ACC. Well, absolutely. That's what we want to see. And that's me at the back. No, it's not me at the back. That is Got King. And I do hope Larry isn't sitting out and Got King is hogging a place and isn't going to take part in the race today. I think we'll have pretty strong paddling if that is the situation. right down at the back here. Of course, all the GT4s getting away off the grid. Let's make sure that no one else apart from Gotking is in the pit lane as we get ready for this historic Enzo Edino Ferrari, made in Italy. I don't know, I can't remember all the other epithets that the Imola Grand Prix is given, but we're here for Black Flag Racing's. This is the Season 2, Round 2 of the championship as we get everybody ready. The Aston Martins there are running on empty, looking absolutely gorgeous, with the we've got Go Dogs in the front. I'm not quite sure as an Englishman how to go about pronouncing Go Dogs. Am I supposed to say dogs, or should I refer to what I usually do? So Chugalug in second place, and then we've got Plums and Mojo running in P3 and P4 together. That might be an advantage. It might be a disadvantage to be starting right with your teammate. Team Malacca Motorsport, represented in the black and red Lexus by Bubbling Panda, scored a 5th place in qualifying. Awesome gumball in the green and black McLaren, and then another one of the Swiss Lexi is Rubinho, just not far away from his teammate there as well, Harry. Then we've got DJ Jacques, and that one's Simracer. We've got Regular Key in P11 in the unusual livery, the brown and pink. Regular Key there, brown and pink of Shockers, and then Nate starting in P12 with Grandpa Exposure in P13. I'm assuming for the for Scuderia only Gramps, Grandpa Exposure, H Fleury, and then Darkness Gene. Prince George, I'm going to correct everybody for calling him King. It is Prince George. I can dive into that later if you want me to. Zuni in 17th, Debuthi in 18th with Jondola, and well, I'm going back and back. Jondola and Stubbly Squid then in P20. Jondola starting on the GT4 pole. Y-weight here in the Malacca colour scheme Chevy GT4 for the Malacca's Motorsport with Preston, Edward Nedlow, Hellcat, Chaotica, Siam, Timid Umbrian, No Crap Bard, and then Jim, myself, and still got King in the back of the pack. The drivers are gridded up; they're ready to get underway. We will get you a nice helicopter shot to start the race, I think, as we get ourselves ready for today's race. The drivers are ready for 1 hour of racing. There are required pit stop, a single required pit stop between 20 minutes and 40 minutes into the race, or 40 minutes and 20 minutes left to go. They have to put 1 litre of fuel in only, and it's green flag, and it's dropped the clutch, and it's go here at this historic Imola Grand Prix circuit. And already you've got the Plums, who's getting a good inside line into Traguardo, into Tamburello. They go side by side, and that's off then from Mojo. Mojo with an early race incident, just going a little bit wide out of Tamburello corner as we run down through the order. Let's go back up to see what's going on. The Lexus there of Harry just about hanging on to the grip as they head into Tosa for that first time. We've got a very sketchy situation up front there with Chugalug and with Dog Eater going side by side through that Tosa corner as we plunge downhill into Aqua Minerale, and the Aston Martin of Plums just holding on then as the gap starts to build between himself and Dog Eater in the front, who has picked up a drive-through penalty for a start infringement, I do believe. That is huge, as change at the back, says Larry. We'll go over there and have a look at what happened. That's Gotking, who has got himself underway. He did just miss the start. Preston at the far back of the grid, along with Darkness Gene. Looks like they are the drivers who have had their incidents then. And back to the front of the race, we've got Dog Eater wearing a drive-through penalty with a 2.1 second lead at the moment. But of course, the drive-through is going to cost him a great deal more. We've got Plums then in the Aston Martin trying to hold off the Ford Mustang of Chugalug at the front, as the drivers have completed lap 1, starting, of course, onto lap 2 now. and heading into that Traguardo-Tamburello interchange. The Aston Martin a little bit slower on its top speed ultimately. Bubbling Panda in third place, got the fastest lap on that first lap in the Lexus, and he's starting to make a move. The Aston Martin of Plums just getting alongside. Looks like we've gone into the lead now thanks to the drive-through being paid off at the earliest possible opportunity. I thought he might stay out for as long as possible here, but the front five separated by just about 2 seconds maximum across the top of the grid, and it's Chugalug who, well, it's reading Chugalug in the lead of the race, but actually it is Plums here in the Aston Martin. I think Chugalug just waiting a little bit to catch up. His transponder just not quite showing on the grid at the moment. The drivers are so close together that we don't seem to know what to do. Acqua Minerale corner next, of course. Awesome Gumball in the McLaren, right on the back of the two Lexus drivers, Bubbling Panda and Rubinho Rico, but also signs that they're slowing the rest of the grid down, because it looks like DJ Jacques up from, I think, around 9th place at the start of the race. He has made it all the way up to P6, having got the most points in the previous round. A big dive down the inside then from Awesome Gumball, and that was an awesome pass into Rivazza corner, and completing it in the second part. He is slightly hampered on the way uphill out of that Rivazza corner. He's given up the inside line as they head towards that Traguardo corner, the next left-hand corner, and look at the speed of the Lexus in comparison to the McLaren, who had a slightly difficult start of the race, you have to say, from exiting that Rivazza corner pairing. Up front then we've got Bubbling Panda in third, Chugalug in second, with the Plums leading in the Aston Martin now as we head on through the Villeneuve chicane. We'll go back to down the order and see what else we can make out of everybody's progress. That Harry effect back down to 7th place now, with Prince George in 8th and Zuni out in 9th position. Mojo recovering from his poor start in P10 at the moment, with Grandpa exposure coming through in the Oni Gramps colour scheme, the blue, black and white. Behind him, Nate and that one Sim Racer, teammates of course, who are having to cooperate somewhat right now. There's that one Sim Racer with Fleury in P14 in the McLaren. Jondala from the GT4 grid, holding on to his pole position, and he is sitting in that 15th place ahead of now Y-Weight, who's 1.7 seconds further back as we head down. That 1.7 seconds doesn't look like very much in a Chevy, I have to say. Howcat 17th, not Sim in 18th, who comes through then in his Aston Martin GT4, and we've got side-by-side action as we head into Acqua Minerale corner, I want to say. That is Acqua Minerale indeed. That's Dog Eater coming through in the from his pole position start, and then drive through penalty at the start of the race. These much larger GT3 machines glowering over the top of the GT4s as we head through and go down towards that Rivazza corner. Once again, the top speed of the GT3 getting sufficiently by, nice and easy, as Siam is then on the defensive from the Mercedes AMG that looks to be, or yes, I think that is Howcat. It is Howcat, just behind then Debouthi here, and behind them Siam and Nu Krap or Bard, as we know him. Chaotica in 22nd position at the moment. He's in 6th, of course, in class. Fantastic 10-car field in the GT4s at the moment. Normally we just get a handful, so it's great to see the growth of the league. So much so that we've maxed out. We overbooked our flight here today and ended up with too many drivers and commentators to complete a fantastic grid. Timid Umbrian in P26 with myself down there. Sorry, there's Darkness Gene in 29th. And he's got a stop-go penalty to pay. At the front of the race, though, it is back with the Plums, who still holds on by 0.3 of a second only ahead of Chugalug. And we will enjoy these cars then for a few moments, because of course this is for the outright podium of the race. Just catching up with everybody's chats. Great to see everyone weighing in here. I hope you're enjoying it. There is a top fan leaderboard. You can see the leaderboard markings next to your names as well. So we want to make sure that you guys you can compete even if you're not racing today. The Lexus of Bubbling Panda, the top speed getting nicely tucked up there, getting very close to the back of the Mustang of Chug-a-Lug, but no way by. This is going to be a difficult circuit to pass, as so many of them are in ACC, of course. Going Grey's silence, says Larry. What did Going Grey say? Alien speed. Hit that like. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the support on the channel as well. It's great to be back with Black Flag Racing, because I have had a couple of little goes in the prospect series as well for Team Malacca, but I will do my best to be as impartial as possible here for you guys today. Yeah. If I talk about Malaccas a lot, it's probably because I recognise the liveries more than anybody else. Rubino Rico in the blue Lexus then, P4 ahead of Awesome Gumball in the McLaren in P5. Didier Jacquet is still not quite catching, 2.4 seconds further back from the group here. And we'll go and just check out what's going on. Of course, it's going to be about making as few mistakes as possible here, rather than the dramatic overtakes that perhaps other circuits will allow you to. There is BUB, Bubbling Panda, on the windshield of the Lexus for Panda here, and heading down to that Ravazza corner with Plums, Chug-a-Lug and Bubbling Panda still your race provisional podiums so far. Further back then, we've got Rubinho Rico, followed by Awesome Gumball. It looks like the McLaren is going to struggle. Just going to check out, is Bubbling Panda actually getting close here? It's very annoying to try and skip through my own stationary car out there. Larry's wishing he could be in that car right now, even though he didn't get to do any practice whatsoever. I think obviously doing the honourable thing here for the league is Larry, to make sure that we can give you guys a fun stream to enjoy. So fourth is Rubinho Rico, fifth is Awesome Gumball, back to DJ Jacquez in the Mustang. I did fancy the Mustang here today, as in most locations on ACC, ahead of Harry. Then in his blue Lexus, further back Mojo, the classic Aston Martin colour scheme of British Racing green with the yellow accents. Very nice, very nice and tasteful colour scheme here today, with Zuni out in that Mustang as well. Prince George, the number 27, ahead of the 211 of Grandpa Exposure, who is moving up and looking like he is about to start chasing down. But of course, equal machinery from 10th through 13th positions, all the McLarens together here at the tail end of the top 10 runners. Dog Eater out in 15th. I was expecting to see more drama from Dog Eater, more speed here. I think that counts as a pink and brown for Team Shockers, but it is a different approach. We're sort of hiding the pink somewhat with regard to the rest of it. Fastest lap at the moment for Dog Eater here. My apologies, that was H. Fleury earlier on. This is Dog Eater. He's got the fastest lap. He had the pole position, of course, had the drive-through penalty as always. The league is bigger than one driver, and as Larry says, he will never remind anybody about either his achievements or his sacrifices. Absolutely, we would never expect you to mention it again, Larry, I'm sure, or even ask questions like, who was it that gave up his seat, or who was it that won that last race? We've added a little bit of white, have we, to the somewhat questionable brown and pink livery on Regular Keys Ferrari here. One of the worst colour combinations I think I've ever seen in motorsport. I'm going to go there. I know there's a chance that we're representing for breast cancer with the pink, but let's do better than brown. If that's the case, there is Jondola leading the GT4 series at the moment by only 1.5 seconds As Larry says, you did not put me up to that. No, absolutely. But I was on your side the whole time. Unusually, Larry. I watched the stream back, and I'm completely with you. Beautiful AMG colour scheme here. Just stealing the British Racing Green colours. We've scuffed up the nose somewhat though in the GT4 as Hellcat, with not Siam in the in what is he, fourth in class at the moment. Got King's in 21st overall, 17th. He started from the pit lane after giving Larry some heart palpitations, thinking that perhaps he wasn't going to start the race after all. He didn't take part in qualifying either, so he's got a mountain to climb here. It's only a 1 hour endurance race, not a huge amount of time to make up for such a huge deficit. Stubbly Squid is 5th in class with Chaotica, Nurkrap Bard, and Jim back there. Back to the front then, as we have this heating up battle, just under 1/10 of a second between the Mustang of Chuggalug and the Aston Martin of the Plums. If the Plums can hold off this Mustang, he will be doing an absolute miracle. Here we go, as Chuggalug peels to one side. We're heading through into Piratella corner. That's why the Aston Martin has given up that inside line. He knew his way around the circuit, as of course all our awesome drivers do, and you can see Bubbling Panda waiting for his opportunity, but fully defensive, fully legal on his move as well, was the Plums to hold off this storming Mustang driven by Chuggalug. We'll go a little bit wider on the camera angle as we go through the Varianti Alta, the highest chicane, as it were, in a translation, then over the crest and back, powering downhill into Ravazza corner. You see lots of tire markings on the asphalt there, thanks to lots of drivers putting a huge amount of braking force through the car as we go through. Gotking has got this I have faith, says Big Runks. That's going to be a tremendous run if he does. Ferrari 296 is going to look good in those green and gold colours next week, says Eric. Okay, excellent. Look forward to seeing that as we run then into the Villeneuve chicane, named after Gilles Villeneuve, not Jacques, I believe, as the drivers are catching the GT4s already. Here we go, passing the Ginetta. Oh, that was sketchy and close for Chuggalug as he came on through that sequence. Let's just check out who we're actually looking at here. It's not Chaotica, I'm sure of it, but anyway, we've got the Plums catching some of the tail running GT4s at this stage. That is crazy after 8 laps. They're already round on a short track, short and technical track I should say, like Imola. Lots of drivers love this place for the technical challenge. It's a relatively flat and even circuit in terms of its camber and pitch in comparison to a lot of the the British tracks. There's a fair amount of space to manoeuvre. The straights just aren't very long at all, as winding their way through the traffic come the drivers vying for that third place on the podium. The Lexus pairing go side by side through Varianti Alta and going wide and round the long way round through the corner went Rubinho, and he has got ahead of Bubbling Panda. I'm not sure on the legality of that one, so we will have to check that one out. My apologies, just trying to find my replay button here, but I'm struggling. I wanted to take a highlight of that one, and I've forgotten or lost exactly what button it is I'm supposed to press to get there. It is Plums, Chuggalug, and Rico ahead of Bubbling Panda. It's centre stage on your screen at the moment. Awesome Gumball very close behind. These three now vying over 3rd, 4th and 5th positions as coming through the pack there. It looks like it's DJ Jacques as he comes down. What an awesome combination. Got King. Well, the Go Dogs Racing are going to be absolutely insane this season, I believe, with their drivers. Going Grez says that pass would be worth the track warning. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. And we're going wide again. We are going to collect track warnings if we maintain this this level of track limit abuse. Oh, that's very late from Bubbling Panda, and of course it's going to cost him big time. Bubbling Panda runs back. If anyone can remember the key for the replay, I think I just have to press X. There we go. I have to press X on the controller while I'm doing everything else on a keyboard. Okay, that's the deal. That's how to get the highlights. So Bubbling Panda just trying a very late move into the corner there, into Acqua Minerale on the inside line, and he ends up costing himself a position and a fair amount of time. This is Siam, one of our admins and league owners, of course, and he is racing in the GT4s. He's fourth in class at the moment, just being passed by Awesome Gumball in the green and black McLaren as we go through. Still, your leader right now is Chuggalug ahead of Plums, but look at these two go. Chuggalug has got himself ahead of Plums, but Plums is not letting him get away at all. Wow. Screaming by the camera we go, as that is for the lead of the race, of course, and the GT4 just having to dive off the circuit. That's, I think, Jondola who is leading the GT4 class. So that's every GT4 car been lapped by the two in the lead of the GT3 field so far, and that has cost Plums a little bit, 0.7 of a second back to Chuggalug out there. Let's try and give you some cool helicopter cam angles, but the gap has opened quite considerably there. There is Jondola in the maroon, and I think pink, I guess it's deep pink magenta kind of colour there for the Aston Martin GT4, and coming through, that's Y-weight. So the gap between the two GT4s at the lead of the field is nice and close as well. Probably only 1 second maximum as they let the leaders through. They're not required to let the leaders through, I believe. Although I was racing in Prospect under a different understanding, and I was walking off the circuit to allow leaders to come through from my lowly position, and then found out later that actually the blue flags weren't going to be punished. They were a guide rather than a strict rule. It's still apparently still on the overtaking cars, the faster cars, to make their pass. The slower cars are not obliged to actually get off the circuit and out of the way, as far as I've been able to ascertain so far anyway. I do run a number of different leagues with very different racing rules, so it's hard to keep up sometimes, but I shouldn't really make excuses. This is Got King. Now remember, he started at the back of the grid in the pit lane. He has now, I'm sorry to say for him and his team, been lapped because the leaders have come through and it's taken him this long to clear the GT4s. So he's now 1 lap down, unfortunately, is Got King, and that mountain is just, well, I guess the boulder has just rolled down the mountain, and he's got to push it straight back up. But it's gone a little bit further down than it had before, for sure. So running through into that Acqua Minerale corner. Runk saying, appreciated the moving as I was trying to run down the other leaders. Okay. So I got some points, some approval points there, which was the important thing. The pit window is now open. The pit window is open for our drivers. The only thing they have to do is make a pit stop and refuel with 1 litre of fuel. Hunter just aligned there. We are not, so just underlining the blue flag rule. Thank you so much, Hunter. I appreciate you watching and giving the added context and explanation. That makes a lot of sense. So thank you for that one. We're all learning as Black Flag grows, and we end up with these enormous grids, and it is an absolute pleasure to see the growth of the league. This is Got King then down in 17th. Looks like he's P3, but sadly he's not. He's 3.9 seconds away from plus a lap from the top two. This is Rico. I'm going to go with Rico because I'm not sure I'm reading Rubinho correctly. And Awesome Gumball ahead of Bubbling Panda, who's not been able to get that place back after defending and then trying to sneak down the inside into Acqua Minerale against Rico. Still very much within a hunt though, and he's Awesome Gumball's fastest lap was his previous lap, And Bubbling Panda is not far away from his fastest as well as we come through. So Bubbling Panda in P5. DJ Jacques in 6th place. High scoring last time. I appreciate that so much. Thank you very much, Hunter. We're nearing the goal today, so thank you everybody for your contributions. Really appreciate it. Mojo in P7. Runk's saying that he's making up places, but unfortunately he's the leaders are absolutely on one right now. Just 22 minutes into the race so far, and who would have thought that that we would have the situation where our driver where King would be down a lap after 22 minutes. We've got Harry in P8, down to Jondola running in 18th, in between P8 and P9, but leading the GT4 field despite being off the circuit last time we saw him. And we've got some passing going on there. That's a GT3 McLaren against the GT4 AMG. Yes, just had to check myself because that AMG is not a small car. As Zuni in the Mustang goes down the inside. Well, it was the inside. It's now the outside of Jondola as we go through the double left of Rivazza corner. He'll need to get the job done now though, and there is plenty of room on the track. I'd have to say, going racing in our last race as we did in Misano, sorry. I wondered whether we ought to think about safe passing zones on a couple of dedicated straights where a slower car should lift on the racing line, for example, where everyone expects things to happen. Because otherwise, I think on technical circuits, drivers just get a little bit too impatient and then start, I don't know, punting people in the back mid-corner, for example. That one Sim Racer in 10th, Grandpa Exposure, I think has just taken that one Sim Racer. Has he? Let's get close and check this one out. Vic saying sexy track from a sexy country. I believe Vic is Italian, for those of you who don't know. So coming through the Tosa corner now, we go. This is Grandpa. Thank you so much, Tanner. Appreciate it. Wonderful. Absolutely amazing. So then that's Grandpa Exposure passing. He's behind that one Sim Racer, I believe. Yes, the two McLarens very close together, ahead of the McLaren GT4 of Prince George. Sorry, no, not the GT4. That is the GT3 of Prince George in the green and black. HRH on his epithet. Thank you, Runks, again. Amazing. Can we see some Jondola and Y-Weight, please? Yeah, totally. Appreciate the politeness as well. Let's head back up and see if we can't find them. I think they've dropped back a little bit. Let's go down. I was just going through the field there. There he is. There is Jondola. Y-Weight has dropped back quite considerably. In fact, let's see if we can't see him anywhere in the background of the... Going Grey says, go dogs. So where is Y-Weight? Oh, are we going to see him in screen? There he is. Wow, three GT3s. 3 GT3s between himself. I think Y-Weight has had himself a little issue off the circuit. Here he is. Let's go back. This is Y-Weight now. He's down in 3rd position in class behind the Mercedes AMG of Hellcat, and he's lost a considerable amount of time to Jondola. So that has changed matters quite a lot, unfortunately. Y-Weight then down into P20 overall, P3 in the GT4 class. Reserving today for Team Malakas, usually a prospect driver, as we know, winning the Misano race, that is obviously a very different animal for him to be racing with, and we'll see how he progresses through the course of the next 34 minutes. I haven't seen much in the way of pit stops. Looks like Jim might have taken his pit stop, and Bubbling Panda has also taken his pit stop early. I don't have people's tyre selection, so I don't know if drivers are changing tyres or not. I believe there's a reasonable deficit of stationary time additional to your pit stop if you do elect to change tyres. Depends what condition they're in, how you've set up the car, which I just flat out do not understand the vast majority of the setup parameters. But I believe you can set up the car so that your tyres will last longer than than other times. Yeah, so the drivers can elect to just run one set of tyres. There's Bubbling Panda going past Jim, coming through then in his Alpine, which is, if I got this correctly, Speed Syndicate. And there is Bubbling Panda for Malakas. Now, the early pit stop out of the top 5 for Malakas, he's gone through. 30 seconds, says Going Grace. That's a hefty penalty. This is something I didn't know before. So, very good information. Thanks, Going Grace. Into the pit lane comes, was that Waiwait? It was Waiwait who's come in. He's not waiting for later in the pit sequence in the window. He and I waited quite a long time, I believe, when we were racing in Misano. Certainly into the second half of the race. There's Jim going through. We've got Stubbly Squid in P20, third overall in his GT4. Now that Waiwait has gone in, but of course it will favour the drivers who manage to get a clear few outlaps. And hopefully, I think the better way of running the race is, you have to confirm for me, there's a little bit of contact has been on the front of the Aston Martin of Chaotica. He's damaged and it's just rising slightly. He might need to mend that in the pit lane. Still hasn't made his pit stop yet, but something you might have to let me know is it worth the time save in the penalty, in the pit stop, to fuel up your car for the entire race at the start of the race, and then just put 1 litre in at the pit stop? Is the weight penalty on the car worth it for the time you save, or is it actually the other way around and it's better to run half the amount of fuel you require for the first half of the race, and then the second half for so basically running on half tanks at the start of each stint? I'd love to know what you want to know. So Runk saying the gearing in the GT4 Camaro is actually super close to the production. It's kind of cool. Nice. All right. Debudi in 15th as he comes through. He is running 15th overall. Fulham all the way up at the start, says Arik. He reckons it's going to save time. Just put that 1 litre of fuel in. Ah, interesting. Okay, Hunter says it all depends on your tyres choice. Wow. Well, just when I think I'm getting a grip on this sim, it just it frightens me with its complexity. I have to say, everything is as difficult as it possibly can be, and I guess that's good for the sadists who decide that yeah, ACC is the way for them. This is Plums leading by 14.2 seconds now. Plums back to the front indeed, and it looks like his former rival has dropped back. I guess he's taken his pit stop, has he? Let's go back down and see. Rico's in second place. He has not pitted. So yeah, it looks like we've had a pit stop then from P2, as things were earlier on. We'll keep going down until we find him. I'm not seeing him at the moment. Forgive me just flicking through, just trying to find all of our drivers. It's Chugalug there in P10 then. And here he is, white, red and blue, the Ford Racing colours in the Mustang GT3. Chugalug down to 10th place after the pit stop. Bubbling Panda almost doing the undercut here, and he has gained time then on Chugalug. And both drivers will be trying to gain time on the leaders. Now, I'm guessing that is a tyre change if they're able to unlock that kind of performance difference. 236 for Chugalug on his outlap there, I believe that would have been. Bubbling Panda on a 142 fastest, 144.6 on his last one. Obviously dry tyres on the cars for the race here in the beautiful Italian sunshine with the long shadows as the day wears on in sim. Chugalug and Bubbling Panda then at the moment 9th and 10th, but absolutely fighting over provisional podium positions. Awesome Gumball is right with Chugalug here as we go through as well. We might have to just widen that camera angle a little bit. This is Awesome Gumball and Chugalug. I don't believe they're in the same team. They're a very similar colour scheme, but there is a darker green and a neon green. You'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but Awesome Gumball getting on by. He's just had his pit stop. He gets by Nate, who's in P8 and has not pitted yet. ahead of them, Wyweight in the GT4 group. He is sitting in P5 at the moment, but hoping to make up for everybody else. Thank you again, Eric. Very, very generous today, you guys. Very, very appreciative. Appreciate all of you. Round the outside then, as the Mustang tries to take that space, and Wyweight couldn't make his rather large and beefy looking GT4 Camaro as small as possible, but it didn't quite work out for him. Bubbling Panda has had to wait to get by, and Chuggalug is now queuing up behind Nate, as I say, who has not made the pit stop. So there we have it. Fabulous from everybody. Thank you. We've met the target today. Really appreciate everybody. So generous. As heading down and unlocking a little bit of pace out of the Mustang. Probably the fastest car against one of the slowest in a straight line there, the Mustang. You've just got to have the grip and the driving skill to handle it in the turns. Through we go, Traguardo, chicane into Tamburello. Try not to think about the wall on the exit of Tamburello every time you go through. Behind them, then Nate in between himself and Bubbling Panda. We're still waiting, I believe, on that pit stop, and there is an issue then for Awesome Gumball, who gives up a position, I'm afraid to say. Just wandering off the racing track through the Villeneuve chicane and the approach to Toza, and he drops down an extra position. Bubbling Panda's got by Nate now as well, as we wait for those Big Run saying the Camaro's a double wide, and it depends. Eric saying, I like when the fuel amount adds time accordingly. Nice, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, so just Hunter and Vic having a conversation around how much time it adds to add the fuel. I think it's minimum 15 seconds is the consensus at the moment. Eric is in P1 in the leaderboard today, is diving down the inside once again. Goes Chuggalug, this time on Timid Umbrian, who is in the GT4 class, of course, and then Awesome Gumball, looking like a real challenge then for that lead. We've got Got King. Got King's day is not going well. He's got a stop and go 30-second penalty. I think that's a pitting infraction, as there is just 6 minutes. There are just 6 minutes to go in the pit window. Plums has made his pit stop. He is now 17 seconds ahead of Chuggalug here after the pit stop. So the Plums had a tremendous amount of pace and I think has saved time in the pits by his strategy call. How about that one, guys? That's amazing. So Plums looking incredibly hot today, and not just because he's racing an Aston Martin in yellow and green. He is catching Prince George to put a lap on P14 in his own class after 19 laps. Looking great out there. Plums with a getting on for that can't be 22 seconds now between himself and Chuggalug, but it looks like it is. No, I think I'm wrong. Okay, let's go back to the rear of the field then. That one, Sim Racer in P17 as we run through, and Jondola, he is down in third in class. I don't think anyone else has made has failed to make their pit stops in GT4. So Jonda has lost track of his rivals, although he's not a huge amount of distance away from lapping Siam right now. Grandpa Exposure in the Only Gramps McLaren running P13. Where is Jim right now? 7th in class with Stubbly Squid. He is running second, has not pitted, so Jondola will pick up a position on him, and I think Chaotica is down in 6th in class. He also has not pitted just yet. Let's have a look, see about Howcat as well. Howcat is the leader, he has not pitted, so it looks like Jondola is A-OK after these pit stops come through, and it is getting a little bit sketchy then as the Ferrari GT3 has to navigate these GT4 cars of Haukat first and then Nurkrat Bard as they come through. There goes Haukat into the pit lane, and behind him it looks like it's Zuni in the Mustang in his next lap as we run through. There is Preston. Overall, just want to give you the overall standings. I don't know why. There it is. Overall. Okay. As we run on, you can see the actual order of the race then for the overall race on the bottom left of your screen. Hoping to be able to make some sense out of all of it for you, but give you as much detail as I can. It's just tricky when everybody is coming through. The GT3 field then here on the screen as well, and just going to go back to the view here as Zuni in the Mustang heads on by, that's the Ginetta, the 969 Ginetta. The Boothie. Passing another one of those interesting looking Ginettas that Edward likes so much. Harry in P8, the 88. I'm sure he'll be hoping for better than P8, but it's fairly appropriate. And there's Wait still now in 4th place in class in the GT3s. He's 22nd overall. There is Prince George in the pit lane. Back to Wait, Timid Umbrian. There is DJ Jacques. I was expecting a bit more from him today. His car does look incredibly good in the Mustang, with the Mustang emblem on the side. Stubbly Squid in 3rd in his class, and I haven't seen any drivers who have yet to make their pit stop, with 1 minute 43 to go before the pit lane closes for that mandatory stop. Of course, it's still open if you have to stop for damage, but so far so good. Got King started from the pit lane, has got his way up to 20th overall, 18th out of the 19 cars. He's managed to only overtake one car in his class so far. He's P18. How's Chaotica doing? I think we just looked at Chaotica a few moments ago. I'll have a look, Hunter, next time I get there. Just trying to make sure we give everybody a few moments in the sun here. Looks like Jim has had a little bit of contact on the front of his Alpine. That hood is looking decidedly second-hand, and I think it's getting too difficult to drive. He's already made his mandatory pit stop. Jim pits then as Mojo goes by in P5 in the Aston Martin. Looks like a good payday for the running on empty Astons, with Fleury in 13th so far. Here is Bubbling Panda, and he is right with Jondola, who has resumed, I believe, the lead of the GT4 field. Yes, indeed he has. So that will be great news for him and his team. But Bubbling Panda is still locked in battle with Awesome Gumball. So there he is. Chuggalug in 2nd place. Still over 10 seconds away from the lead of the race, as Chuggalug passes Siam. Siam in the Aston Martin GT3. Very unusual Aston Martin colour scheme there for Siam. As a regular key in the Ferrari we can't really look at for very long. P17 overall. Here is Plums, the 96, leading the race. I'm just going to try and find you Chaotica. Here he is, Chaotica, P6 in class, has made his pit stop, and he has a decent amount of gap. He's passing Jim, who's just finishing his pit stop, and we'll get an idea of how far away he is from Bard at the moment. On track, he's 7.3 seconds away from lapping Bard. Sorry, I'm passing Bard, excuse me, who is up here in P5 in class. So 7.4 seconds Chaotica has in front of him to catch the next racer. As we go through, just go back to our leader Plums in this P1. Of course, the fact that it's quite a short track here in Imola means that the GT3s are passing cars virtually every lap now at this point, as he passes now Chaotica and catches up to the back of the 801 of that one Simrator. Eric says, I'll donate again if my teammate wins. Thank you. But I've got nothing to do with it. I can't apply fan boost, I'm afraid, to the drivers. But Plum's leading in P1, Chuggalug in P2 here, in the Ford Mustang, with Awesome Gumball some 8 seconds plus further back, and defending hard from Bubbling Panda, who will just ride with Bubbling Panda a little bit. I think might be a bit of fun. See how the Lexus is handling right now. I was worried we were slightly left-hand down there, but I think we're all okay. Eric saying, just want to keep it all going. Thank you, appreciate it. And all the way down to first gear for the ultra awkward Variante Alta corner, as we then head back down again into that Rivazza double left. The brake whine as usual here in ACC. Very, very smooth from Bubbling Panda as he then runs back up the hill. Excuse me. My apologies. Still not really properly over my throat issue that I had earlier on in the season. But the 71 then in 4th place. Awesome Gumball staying ahead, and there's a Ferrari getting very well out of the way. That's Regular Key, who was either generous or made a mistake. I can't quite decide which. Let's call it generosity there to exit the track, essentially, on the approach through Triguardo and Tamburello, as we head up out of Tosa now. And this is the closest battle at the front. Are there no Porsches? I'm not seeing a Porsche. I haven't seen one. And it looks like, yeah, drivers, one of the amazing things here about Black Flag Racing, daily racing, and so many different types of races. You get to try just about every car, either in mixed class, single class, or single make series, all the way through the week. I don't think I've ever seen quite so busy a league, and the admins are doing an incredible job to keep up with the demand at the moment. And I believe you're getting a lot of drivers as well. I was watching the podcast We Suck at ACC on the Black Flag Racing channel, and you're still getting a dozen or more drivers for even just the dailies, which is just amazing. So chapeau to the whole league for that one. Larry, well, now you've spoiled it, Larry. Now I can't carry on. I can't carry on praising you anymore. Alaska time zone. I do my best to attend as much as I can. I wish I could attend, but unfortunately you're a little bit late for me here in the UK. So yeah, I have to just contend with hopefully the endurance races and my stints in prospects and the commentary for Premier. But yeah, it's great to have a reason to get back onto ACC. Great to have everybody. As yeah, Roy is cheering and Runks. For the admins, so we'll let that happen. But yeah, asked for compliments. I don't know. Mojo in P5, just showing the difference between the Aston Martin GT4s and GT3s. We haven't got any GT5s. As he comes powering on out of that Tosa corner to the right before swinging left into Piratella. Really difficult circuit, Imola. But a whole load of fun. There is Chaotica. Rico, P6 right now. He was in front of Bubbling Panda earlier on, but Bubbling Panda seems to have been able to unlock some pace. You've got Gran Turismo stickers on the front of that Lexus. That's a little bit, that's a bit IP confusion there, I've just noticed for Rico. So that's pretty cool. Regular Key out in 17th. Let's see if we can find the rest of our drivers. Here is DJ Jacques. Just hasn't been able to get on top of the Mustang or on top of the circuit today. He was absolutely incredible in Snetterton for round 1 of the season. Round now It's Bublin didn't take tyres, so he's says Larry. So he's got to got to hang on to this Lexus for the rest of the race. But that's what it's a trade-off. It's clearly helped him. DJ Jacques then, fantastic in Snetterton, quieter today, in 7th place for the 83. And then got King down in 18th. Remember, started from the pit lane and is running 18th overall and in class naturally. There I am. There's not Siam in the pits. I don't know quite why all these drivers are pitting at this point. I don't know if Jim actually had to retire the car, but Siam's gone back out. Jim has already made 2 before this pit stops. And Stubbly Squid is in the pits as well. Here is Dog Eater. Started on the pole position. Took a drive through at the end of lap 1. I think he made a mistake at the start, unfortunately. And Runk saying, didn't Pandit lose like 3 places last round not taking tyres? So Larry will know the answer to that question, I'm sure. Or he may feign a lack of memory or recall about that issue, as it's for his team, of course. Dog Eater, P9 then. And sadly, the drive-through costing him a shot at the podium at very least today, if not the win outright. Haukat in 20th with not Siam. 7 places down and a lap, but 9th in his GT4. It looks like today just not going Siam's way at all. As Larry said, it was a little detail called horrendous rain. Okay, so it wasn't all about the choice of tyres. 15th for Prince George and Grandpa Exposure in P10. And back to Plums then, who is only 11 seconds away from P10 and putting a lap on. Waiwait is currently in P3 in his GT4 Camaro. Looking good out there. But Plums peerless right now. But Chugalug is catching Plums. So I wonder if Plums also didn't take tyres and is having to treat this car very gently. Just under 11.5 minutes to go, exactly under 11.5 minutes to go. There's a yellow flag on the circuit right now. I don't know if we can see who that was for. Let's go back and see. Is there a car recovering? It's a yellow flag in the pit lane, it would seem, sadly. So that's what's happening. Yellow flag. There is Chugalug. He's just past Waiwait. Then behind him, that one Simracer comes through as well, but he's down a lap in the GT3s. But here comes Chugalug, P2, and that gap was about 17 seconds after the pit stop between himself and Plums. It's down to 5.5 now. The yellow flag being caused by Jim in the pit lane, I think. So that's an odd one for me, but there you have it. I think that's what's happening as we get the yellow and then the green. As the drivers go by, they don't need to pay a lot of attention to that, thankfully. But I don't quite know how you cause a yellow flag in the pit lane. Chugalug in P2. And the gap, 5.4 seconds with 10.5 minutes to go before the checkered flag. We've got a decent gap. You can see, essentially, Chugalug has pulled away from P3 and towards P1. Because the gap out to P3 is now something like 19 seconds back to Awesome Gumball. Where is he? Here he is in P3. 2 cars between himself and Bubbling Panda's Lexus. And they are GT3s that he's trying to pass. So that's going to be a whole load harder for him to get by. You've got 11th and 12th positions here. Nate and Zuni fighting over their own positions. Looks like Zuni has allowed him through, and they both release Panda, but continue their fight then. Bubbling Panda will have to work hard to get that 3 seconds back to Awesome Gumball's 3rd place. And the Mustang of Zuni looking much more hooked up through Aqua Minerale. And having a look down the inside, this is a late move into Variante Alta. And essentially, that was a very smart piece of play, but it took a little bit of cooperation from Nate as well there to make that happen. So, props to Zuni, but also to Nate for not fighting that too hard and ending up both drivers off the circuit. Flying by Wyweight, who is running in his third position in the GT4s. As we run through, then not far for Rico and for Mojo, but it's saying that Mojo's in P6. There it is. It was just a little bit. The tower was a little bit confused there. So Mojo in P6 in his Aston Martin. He went wide at the very start of our race. One of those situations, both for Dog Eater and for Mojo. First lap incidents have cost them the entire race, essentially. Mojo used to enjoy life in here in Black Flag as being top dog, and now we've got a whole load of very quick drivers around to fight with him and alongside. So look at this then. Chuggalug down to 4 seconds, but time is running out. He's going to need a delta of 2 seconds a lap over Plums, who is on worn tyres, in order to make the pass. Is there enough time remaining? Chat, please let me know what you think. But Chuggalug's last lap was a 1:42.0 versus a 1:43.4 for Plums. It's almost there in terms of the delta in laps, but Plums can try and hold on here. Of course, catching is one thing, passing is quite another, especially in Imola. But clearly Chuggalug will have the bit between his teeth and will be absolutely convinced that he is going to be able to make this work and get himself back on the winner's step. We've got Siam out there at the moment, P9 in his class. I'm not sure who it is behind Siam in class, but Haukat is running second in the GT4s as well. Looking great there for running on empty. A very good payday for running on empty, it looks like, today. Larry's saying they just had a crazy battle at this track in another league. We don't talk about other leagues. That's fiction, isn't it? Other leagues, I don't believe they exist. The number 71, Bubbling Panda, just 2 seconds away from Awesome Gumball. Then back to Rico and Mojo. No mistake. It's no mistake running now, says Zati. Rico ahead of Mojo, 2 seconds between 5th and 6th position. We were just looking at those a few minutes ago as they were passing Nate. Flying by the camera goes Wyweight with Fleury in P13, and DJ Jacques is still in P7, and he's got it as Arik cheering on Plums to the end. And now I'm going to have to cheer on Plums, aren't I? A little bit of gravel inspection from Timid Umbrian with a touch of lawn mowing on the way through there. But he's managed to rescue the car. Got King, P17. Like I say, only managed to pass one car in his class, but clearly his expectations would have been very low, having not taken part in qualifying and then fumbling the start, or being late to the start, possibly. Even though we were slightly late starting, as far as I recall, from the hour anyway. Harry, P8 for his team in the Swiss Lexi with Edward Nedlow. I think this is the only Gramps colour scheme. Correct me if I'm wrong. Dog Eater with his drive-through in pole position in P9 right now, and Chaotica running in 4th in the GT4 class. Blue flag given to him for Debuthi coming through in the Ferrari in the black and red. I think that's Go Dogs. With Stubbly Squid 8th in his GT3 class. Bard Nukrap is catching to put a lap on his classmate there. As we run through, there is Prince George and Grandpa Exposure. Both GT4 drivers, both McLarens, but a lap apart. Here comes Grandpa Exposure. There is a blue flag being applied to the black and green of Prince George, and I think Grandpa Exposure probably starting to feel a little bit frustrated here. We don't really want to make a pass into Variante Alta unless it is absolutely on. As we run in, then it's not quite there. Down the hill into Ravazza, and Prince George just makes life very, very easy then eventually for Grandpa Exposure. Just goes off the circuit, unfortunately, and has to slow to an absolute crawl to get back on as the leaders come through. There we have it. That is how close the leaders are. 2 seconds with 4 minutes to go. This is insane pace from Chug-a-Lug. This is a war of attrition, a battle against his tyre wear for Plums. And we are going to have ourselves a grandstand finish, folks. And I absolutely enjoying this. Speed Syndicate is the only Gramps team, I believe, is an endurance squad. I was told just this afternoon that Scuderia only Gramps were racing the Ferrari and the Ginettas in the blue and teal. But Ruggs, I will happily bow to your wisdom. But in the paddock chat today for Premier, I was asking for drivers to help me out with spotting the cars, and did call themselves Scuderia only Gramps. This is the battle then. This is what we can see. 2.4 seconds as Plums was slowed slightly by passing another driver. You've got the leaders of the GT3s just ahead on track of the leader of the GT4s, John Dunlop, and he has a massive gap back to P2 in classes. He's passed by Prince George, who makes his way through, but we really ought to stay, I think, here with Chug-a-Lug. Let's get you a camera angle that kind of makes sense here. Gives you a good view of what's going on. There's the Aston Martin. Keep your eye on that green, black and yellow Aston Martin as we run through then in these final couple of minutes before the end of our endurance race. Left or right? Whoa, that's a very late call to go to the left into Ravazza. Very hampered on the way in, but he'll just about save the momentum and positioning on the track. Got turn 2 apex on quite strong here, so we can see the centre line of the car with the white line, and we keep drifting our eyes around that one. But I know it's a bit hard to know what's happening on the circuit right now when you use the POV view, but I do like to mix it up from time to time. This is Chug-a-Lug fighting with Plums as we're into the final 2 minutes of the race. I think it's the penultimate lap then for the leaders, and that was a mistake. That was a little bit wide from Chug-a-Lug through Tamburello corner as they head into Villeneuve. Chug-a-Lug cost himself a little bit there, but it's still 1.3 seconds away only from Plums, who's got 2 cars to lap in front of him, and they're not, well, one of them isn't an easy car either. One of them is a GT3. So this is going to be insanely difficult for him to navigate. Let's give you that helmet cam as we look at this traffic for him as the driver turns left. Chaotica turns left to close out the braking zone on the race leader. He doesn't necessarily know it's the race leader, but passing there, and that will obviously help driver behind to catch. I'm looking for that rear cam and I'm not finding it, and that's really annoying. Right, okay, here we are. The distance between the two, 1 second with 1 minute remaining, but of course they will have the full racing lap at the end. Chug is on a mission here, says Roy Mustang. Great finish for the race. I think Plums is thinking that this is a little bit too great a finish here as he closes in on Grandpa Exposure, P10, to put, I think, a second lap on P10. But there's quite a difference. Does Grandpa Exposure know about the fact that this is the leader with him? He drifts to the middle of the track as they run to the right. This is the final lap then for the drivers. It is so close between the two, fighting over this win. Down the inside, we've got to go for it here with the leader. And then Chug-a-Lug is boxed in. Of course, he had to go for the gap, but that's opened things out significantly as they pass Preston, Edward Ned Lowe as well. And this gap now reopening to 1.5 seconds. Plums can breathe a little bit easier. He'll have to maintain focus and make sure he doesn't make a mistake. But man alive, is this tight here to a finish for the lead of our race. I'm going to stay with this battle because, of course, this is what it's all about for our drivers as we run then just chase cam from Chug-a-Lug as we go down into this Tosa corner. No, got that wrong. That was Piratella. Now we're going downhill into Acqua Minerale. This camera really minimizes the change in elevation. That really helped Chug-a-Lug to gain position here. That's really close now as they head into the final chicane of this racetrack. That's Variante Alta. There is one opportunity to put a dive bomb here down into Ravazza. It is going to be so close between our two leaders. There's a fully defensive move coming from Plums. Is it going to be a late one? On the way into Ravazza corner, Chugalug is focusing on his exit, and Plums has made a mistake. Plums has gone out. He's gone wide, and unfortunately Plums has given up the lead on the final lap of the race in the final two corners. It's with Chugalug with his tyre change to win in Imola. What a finish for our race here at Black Flag Racing. Chugalug ahead of Plums there, who grinds the car to an absolute finish, disgusted with himself in an end. He's going to disappear out of this server pretty sharpish, I would imagine, by the look of things. Incredible to go wrong there, right at the very death. But it's driving around on bald tyres was the way things played out in the end for him. Jim did end up just retiring in the pit lane. Here comes Zuni to cross the line. We've got No Crap coming across in 21st position. Full results to come, of course. It's just chaos they're here trying to sort out the finishing order. We've got Bubbling Panda, who's parked it up on the grass there after the start-finish line. But absolutely insane at the end of the race. Let's try and give you a decent run there. The overall, Chugalug, Plums, and Awesome Gumball, then your top three. Bubbling Panda didn't make it in the end up onto the podium ahead of Rico and Mojo, top six, with DJ Jacques and Harry. In the GT3 field, Chugalug was not driving a GT3. I don't know what that's about. Sorry, that is the GT3 field. Okay, good. Excellent stuff. So I just need to navigate to the finishing order. There we go. Fantastic. So Chugalug, Plums, Awesome Gumball, with Bubbling Panda, Rico, Mojo, Jacques, Harry, Dog Eater, and Grandpa Exposure to finish in the top 10. Let's make sure we get our GT4 field. John de la Hellcat, Y-Weight, and Chaotica in the end, ahead of No Crap Bard, Timid Umbrian, Preston, Edward Nedlow, Stubbly Squid, Not See Him, and Jim Arnott to finish out the GT3 field. We went to 10th, so it's Zuni in 11th, Nate in 12th, Flurry in 13th, Debuthi in 14th, Prince George in 15th, with Got King making it up only to 16th place in the end. Looks like we had a couple of retirements in the end. 15 laps down was Jim there. But thank you everybody. Really enjoyed that one today. I hope you enjoyed it too. I did take a couple of highlights there, so hopefully we can have a look at those later on. But guys, I really appreciate all the support. Do remember to press the thanks button if you haven't been able to get a super chat through today. But like and subscribe to the channel if you will. We've got racing, plenty of racing happening tomorrow. I'm even driving tomorrow, so you can tune in and support me tomorrow in VR. But for everybody here at Black Flag, make sure you continue to take part in the daily races and support your teams and teammates as much as possible. Thanks to Premier Off-Road, to all our sponsors, and from me, Webbo, I really appreciate you all. Thank you for watching. We will catch you on the next race day.